Game Jam tips. So what is a game jam? It's an online game making competition. And as I said in my previous video, I think it's one of the best ways to learn indie game dev as a hobby. So I'm gonna give you some tips that I've learned after joining 10 different game jams. So when you do a game jam, you sign up here on itch.io, find one you like. For example, I'm doing this one this weekend. So once you've joined the jam, on the day of the jam, usually they'll give you a theme. And you work your game around that theme. For example, some people were guessing his theme might be green because it's kind of like his theme. So if the theme is green, you could make a game around that. So my first tip for game jams will be theme brainstorming. So it's good to pick something quickly. You don't want to spend, a whole day on trying to pick a theme and then have only one day left to make a game if it is a 2-day jam. So I like to do mind mapping. So if you've never seen mind mapping, you'll put the theme in the middle, green, and then you'll branch out. Trees are green, green apples. Another branch might be broccoli. Another branch might be grass. And then, you branch out from there, make different connections, and maybe you come up with an apple in a grass world is trying to find his true love, broccoli. That's your game. It's like a 2D platformer about an apple. And also another thing I do sometimes is mashups. So like say you have your idea but you don't know what type of game it'll be. So you can take 2 games that you liked as a kid and maybe smash them together. So for this apple example, maybe I could smash Mega Man and Sonic together. So that's a 2D platformer with straight shooting and then super speeds. So maybe this apple, maybe he has a little apple gun, and then if you push a button, maybe he rolls like super fast like Sonic. So I just mashed 2 games together. So I think that's a good way to come up with some cool ideas. And my next tip is how to be a 100% finisher. I always feel bad when friends join a jam and then they're like, oh, I couldn't do it, I ran out of time. I think to finish all your game jams, the first big rule is don't overscope. Don't do something that's too difficult in the time. There's a saying in film, keep it simple, stupid. And I think that applies to games too. Keep it simple. Don't, try to make an MMORPG in a 2-day jam. That's just, ridiculous. So there's some cool, design by subtraction. Think of something and then take things away that aren't needed. Like with that apple example, maybe I wanted to have a random dungeon generation. Like, is that super necessary to the core of an apple platformer? No, so maybe I should scrap that idea. Number 1 goal is to submit a game. That should be your only goal. It doesn't have to be a perfect game, you're just learning, you're practicing. You want to have people play your game, because that's the point of a game, is that people can play it. And it will help you so much if people leave comments. You'll get lots of cool ideas. So after the jam, many people take their jam game and improve it. Maybe even make it into something big. And the next tip I have might be a little controversial, but if you can, make your game a web browser game. So in case you don't know what a web browser game is, it means it plays in the browser. The contestant doesn't have to download a file and open it or install anything. You can literally hit play, run the game, and the game comes on. Why do WebGL? So after doing these 10 jams, I can tell you something that if you go through the submissions and if you rate them by most rated, I can guarantee, look, there's my game. I can guarantee that like 90% of these are web browser games. So they literally get triple the amounts of plays, rates, and comments. And I learned this after like my, I don't know, like 4th or 5th jam, because I didn't know how to do WebGL at first, which is understandable. I mean, if you can't do it, don't worry about it. But if you want to get as many plays, like my goal when I join a game jam, I don't care about winning. I just want to get as many people to leave a comment and a rating. Like even if my game is terrible, at least I love reading the comments, getting their suggestions to improve it. So people are lazy, you know, they'd rather just open up the the itch.io page and play the game in the browser. So if your goal is to, you know, get people to play your game like me, I highly suggest WebGL. But if your goal is to win, you know, a lot of the top rated games are downloaded, but you know, maybe they get, like my game gets 100 ratings, their game gets 15, but they're still like 4th place or whatever, because you know, those 15 ratings were really good. But for me personally, I don't care about placing. I just want people to play my game, and so I get feedback and I learn, and it's just, I really get a lot of joy knowing, oh, so many people are playing my game. So that's why I advocate web browser games. And the next tip is for the visuals. So don't worry if you can't draw. I'm doing air quotes, if you can't draw. You know, several game jams I've been in, the best and winning games just use simple shapes like squares or cubes. It's all about game juice. And in the description of this video, I'll leave a link to a really cool lecture on YouTube called Juice It or Lose It. And they turn a basic boring Pong game and they add a bunch of different types of game juice and make the Pong game super exciting. I learned a lot from that video. So like this game I think was super high rated, like maybe definitely in the top 10. And look, he just used cubes. He just used nice lighting, nice effects. You know, I like to do little cute sprite art and, you know, fun little characters. But a lot of the best rated games, you know, they're just simple. Like this one, I love this guy, Just Cam. He always makes great games. Simple sprite art, nice solid clear colors, you know, simple shapes, simple sprite art. Here's that one I just mentioned, 6th place, just using cubes, a rectangle and a cube. So I feel like, you know, don't worry about visuals. If you're not an artist, cool, you have less to worry about. Just make your shapes nice colors, use some nice lighting, you know, find other ways to make it look good, because, you know, these are game jam games. They can be more artistic and simple. And the next tip I have is sound is a must. It's really sad when you play a game jam game and you hit the play button and there's literally nothing. So, you know, get a little free chip tune. You can use the famous indie game sound generator. It's called SFXR. I'll put that in the link too. It's this little program that generates simple sounds. So sound is a must. It's half the experience. Your game is so much more fun if your little character has a little jump boing. In my last 2 jam games, I actually, just for fun, I made the sounds myself with on this mic. I just said, I'll show you an example here. And people really gave me nice comments about, oh, your sound is so funny. So here, you can listen here, let's see. He's saying block. And then you go, this is, you get like a little droid. That's my voice. Your drone fights and you place blocks. That's this game that I made. Ooh. And then you can drill. So this was my game jam. The mechanics I wanted was just a simple little drone that shoots, your drill drills, and then your other weapon shoots blocks. Oh, I'm stuck. Ooh. But yeah. But this game, you know, I just made simple sounds. So yeah, try your best. I mean, yeah, I would really suggest sound is just so important. If your skill is at a point where you can't do sound, you know, that's fine. At least have a nice ambient music track. That'll That'll be better than dead silence. And then my next tip is how to get feedback, comments, and ratings on your game. For me personally, my goal is to have my game played, and I want to have comments and ratings. So here, this is my game. What was I? Overall 34th? Not bad. I forget how many games were submitted here, but I think it was like 200 games? I can't remember. So I got 132 ratings. So and I was like, what, fourth? 1, 2, 3, yeah, fourth. So I got the 4th most ratings. That means a lot of people at least played my game or clicked on my page, but I assume most of them played my game out of those 130 something. My first tip is spamming here does not work. If you spam the community page, like, you know, rate for rate my game, I'll rate yours, I find like this doesn't work. I kind of tried it my first 2 jams, and I realized like it didn't really, you know, yield any results. And I found that the best method is go to the submissions, rate them by most karma, and play these games. So what is most karma? So these people, it means they played a lot of games and they commented and rated on a lot of games. So these are kind of like the active participants. And as you can see here, when I was able to rate, I started with this list. There's some that I missed, but I rated a lot in this game jam. I rated 121 out of 573. And all these 121 ones I rated were all web games, web browser. Because I was busy at this time. I didn't have time to download. And I literally went like this. I sorted by play in browser. Bam, look. All of them are checked. I rated, that's how I did, I remember. Oh, I missed you, sorry. But all these games are browser-based games with high karma. And why you do high karma is because they're active. So if you play their game and comment, you know, they're likely to see your comment and then play your game. Because when you comment, it shows your game right here. You don't have to spam your game link. If you leave a nice comment with some meaningful feedback, in my personal opinion, a good comment is, you know, a compliment, you know, feedback if they need some, and then close with a compliment. Because we're all, you know, learning here. We're all learning new things. So we should motivate each other and, you know, not put each other down. Like if you leave a rude comment, you know, they might give you a bad rating. Who knows? In my games, I had like a weird jump in one of my games. Everyone was like, hey, your character's cute, your background's cool, I like your sound, your character movement is a little off, I'd suggest doing blah blah blah, but you know, your game was still very fun, great job. And it's like, oh, that's a good comment. So the type of comments I want to have is the type of comments I give. So the best method is right here. But yeah, if you want your game to get rated, follow this step. Don't spam the community. Don't spam the Discord. Especially don't spam the Discord. No one like goes through the Discord spam list. Oh, this is a good page for it. But my next tip is GIFs are your friend. So GIFs are more visually appealing. They catch the eye, and they yield more organic clicks, which is shown here. I make them good GIFs. I showed my 2 main mechanics. In the first 2 GIFs, I showed my block building and I showed my drilling. And then I showed my drone. I did a good job here. Pat myself on the shoulder. My 3 selling points: build blocks, drill blocks, find random drones. And my last tip is quality over quantity. So what I mean by this is, people play your game for 1 minute to 5 minutes. You want to have a lot of game in that short time. So if you make just one really pretty platform level, your rating will be really good because they had an experience in one level. So I highly suggest, they call it a vertical slice. Don't make 100, mediocre levels. if you make one really good level that the player can go through in a few minutes, it's really good. Plus it's good for you because you'll know this vertical slice of this kind of demo of a game will let you know how much people like it, and then if you want, you can pursue to make it into a bigger game. Like, I actually really like this idea, this game I did, but I have a bug that I just can't figure out. So I moved on to my new current game, but I'd like to go back and look at this. But my bug was sometimes these blocks would like spawn too much, and then people would get stuck, and you know, but it's still, I'm really proud of this game. I might give it a play later. And yeah, so those are my tips. And then lastly, I just wanted to say, don't compare your skills to others. Compare your jam game to your previous game. Because there's such a variety of skill levels in game jams. You'll see insanely polished demos, vertical slices. You'll see a super buggy beginner game. And they're all great because you know what? They are video games people can play. So don't feel discouraged that like, oh, my game is bad, da 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 da. There's always someone better than you, and you're learning, of course. So just be proud you made a game. You published a game that people can play online. So that's super cool. And I guarantee the next one you do, it'll be even better. And if you have any other questions, feel free to type them down in the comments. You know, I don't get many comments, so I'll gladly answer them from my 1 year of experience. All these were done in 1 year's time. Or I guess it's been like 1 year and 5 months now. So yeah, almost a year and a half I've been doing it since winter 2018. And I'm a full-time English teacher living in Korea, so that's why I'm a hobbyist. I love my day job. I'm gonna do this until I retire, and I'm gonna make games for the rest of my life. So I'm like in the perfect combo of hobby and career at the moment, so I'm a happy guy. So I hope you like these tips and have happy game jamming. And please subscribe. I'm having fun, growing my YouTube. So have a good day. See you later. Neat games.